So Josh McDaniels is now 1-4 with the Las Vegas Raiders. They just fell to the Kansas City Chiefs 30-29. Some questionable play calling on both sides, but more specifically, the Las Vegas Raiders. The Chiefs went for 2 towards the end when they were up 7 and could have pushed it to 8, and then they missed. And then the Raiders went for 2 when they were down, and they could have tied the ball game, but they failed to convert also. And the Raiders eventually got the ball back, of course, to try to win the game with a field goal down 30-29, but really bad play call, I thought, by Josh McDaniels. Of course, that same play it looked like worked for the Raiders in the beginning of the game when Derek Carr hit Devontae Adams on just a nice dart pass for a touchdown. But all in all, the Raiders, you've seen their games. You've seen the game against the Chargers. They could have won the game. It was a winnable game. Then who else they played? They lost to the Titans, another winnable game. They blew a big lead to the Cardinals, another winnable game. And then you have this game, and of course they beat Denver, but Denver's not very good. They are the 4th place team in this division. I don't mean as of now because they are ahead of the Raiders, but when it's all said and done, Denver will be the 4th place team in this division. But Josh McDaniels, like I said, I didn't want to see the Raiders fail this year, and of course the season is not over, and it's of course the Raiders are not winning that division now. They really needed this win, but I don't see how they climb out of this hole right here. 1-4 in the AFC when you got Buffalo. In a way, you still can't count out New England. The Jets are threatening. The Dolphins, and I'm not saying all of these teams are locks for the playoffs, but you got those 4 teams in the East. Then you have the Bengals, the defending AFC champions. You got the Ravens. You have the Browns, who are still in the mix of things. All they got to do is maintain a certain level until Deshaun Watson returns. And then you have the Titans, who's caught fire since that 0-2 start. I don't really know about the Colts, still iffy on them as well. But of course, you also have the Chargers, and you have the Chiefs. So I'm not sure how the Raiders can overcome this 1-4 start. Is this 1-4 record they currently have? Let's look at their remainder, like some of the games they have coming up next and not coming up. So next week, they have a winnable game against the Texans at home. Then they're at the Saints, another winnable game. I mean, pretty much, like I said, they're not a bad football team on paper, and you can see their potential on the field. So all of these games are winnable. It's just a matter of executing. But they also have Jacksonville, another game they should. Well, I just say they should win these games. They should beat the Texans, should beat the Saints, should beat Jacksonville, and then they'll be 3-4. Or they'll be 4-4. Yeah, 4-4. They'll be 4-4. Then they got the Colts, Broncos, Seahawks, Chargers, Rams. That's the thick of it. Patriots, Steelers, 49ers, Chiefs. So they're not out of it, but it's going to be a tough battle to climb to get out of this hole. I'm not sure. I don't think there'll be any talks about Josh McDaniels and his job security. But, well, I will say this. If they lose to the Texans, or they lose, if they lose any of these next 3 games, they shouldn't be losing to the Saints. They especially shouldn't be losing to the Texans. And they shouldn't be losing to, who else was in that, Jacksonville. They shouldn't be losing any of these games. They got to get on the win streak. But we're going to start to see what they say about Josh McDaniels. I mean, this is a guy who reneged on the coaching job with the Colts a couple years ago. And we look at a guy like Eric Bieniemy, who can't even get a job after the work that he's helped done in Kansas City. It's when it's a person like him up for a job, it's about, it's Patrick Mahomes, not really him. But we know that doesn't apply to other people. So Josh McDaniels, like I said, he can renege on the job, and then he can still be in consideration and ultimately get a job. And he's not looking good at all. His play calling is terrible. He looks like the job that he was doing years past with Brady and Belichick. That's the job that he's suited for. He's fitted for right there. But yeah, that's the recap on that. Raiders really blew an opportunity. They were up 17-0 first and foremost. They had no business losing that game, so they got to be criticized there. But anyway, moving on, because I do want to talk about a little bit about the Panthers. Like I told y'all, man, y'all remember my earlier rant when the Panthers lost to the Browns. I refuse to watch another Panthers game this season unless they're winning, and don't call me a bandwagon fan because I've been rocking with this team since the beginning, since 2001. And they were 1-15 that year, and I'm just tired of losing. 3 straight 5-win seasons, I'm tired of it. And of course, it took the 49ers to beat them down in basically San Francisco at a 49er home game for them to finally come around and fire Matt Rhule, and not to mention Baker Mayfield got injured, so he's out at least a couple weeks according to the reports. High ankle sprain. This is tough because it's like we saw me over the summer leading up to the season rave about the Panthers, rave about Baker Mayfield, and I'm sitting here right now and I cannot deny any of the terrible play that he's put on that field. No denying it. But the coaching is terrible. I look at the Panthers. It is a team who, I'm not saying they're a Super Bowl team, but this is at least a playoff team on paper. This is a team who I believe wholeheartedly would, they would at least be what the Cardinals were last year. Play a elite team in the wild card round and get blown out in the playoffs. Of course, I would want them to go all the way, but I'm saying they're at least that. They got the positions. They got McCaffrey. They got Moore, and I'm just looking at these guys. I'm like, somebody got to start eventually trying to make a play to get DJ Moore and Christian McCaffrey in trades. Buffalo needs a running game. They can try and make a play to get Christian McCaffrey. Whoever needs a receiver. It's like some has to give after this year. I think they're going to see what they're going to do with this interim coach and see if they can right this wrong, but I just don't see it. I just don't see it when you have to keep switching between quarterbacks. I don't know how far along Sam Darnold is, but PJ Walker's in now. I'm not sold on PJ Walker. Even if they brought Cam back again, I wouldn't be sold on that. We saw what a disaster that was last year. And like I said, you can blame Matt Rhule, and I do too. Because at the end of the day, you were paid $60 million. And you never coached in the NFL. And I'm looking at it from a perspective of, we see all these young coaches coming in, getting these jobs, and they're flourishing. Some of them not exactly flourishing, but they're making the best of it, and they are executing for the most part. Matt LaFleur, not so much, but they still have a winning record constantly in the mix. But the expectation there, of course, is Super Bowl because of who their quarterback is and what he's supposed to be. But we look at Cliff Kingsbury in the Cardinals. He's done compared to Matt Rhule, a way better job. At least he's been in the playoffs. You look at Zach Taylor, especially. That's the guy I highlight in this situation. I know a lot of people are looking like laugh when they hear this. Of course, the Panthers are not a more talented team than the Bengals, but Zach Taylor, who had no offensive line last year, his quarterback got sacked 17, 18 times in the postseason, and they were still that close to winning the Super Bowl. He took them there. And you can't tell me the Panthers are not at least a 9-10 win team who can be in the playoffs. Look at what's going on with the first-year coach in New York with the Giants. Even in New York again with the Jets, they're starting to come along. But look at the Giants. They have a quarterback who they would easily get rid of, who's clearly disposable if a way better one came along. Easily. And Daniel Jones. They would easily get rid of him. But look how they were able to execute against Green Bay down the stretch yesterday morning in that London game, or morning for us. So I just look at that, man, and I just say there's no way the Panthers can't be at least that. After what Joe Burrow had to go through with that offensive line, still coming that close to winning the Super Bowl. And here we are, elite 5-win team, elite terrible team. Terrible team. I was trying to be cool and creative when I said elite about losing, but whatever. But yeah, Matt Rhule's up out of there. I'm not sure what the future holds. In other news, I got beat down in fantasy football real bad. But that's pretty much all I wanted to rap about today. I appreciate y'all for taking this time to hear me out. Be sure to like, share, comment, subscribe, and we will see you on the flip side. Art over hype. Peace.